We must stop the terror. Now watch this drive.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. We're happy you are here with us today. You could be doing anything else. You're with me. And we appreciate that. Upcoming stand-up shows November 29th and 30th this weekend in Edmonton, Alberta. December 15th in Calgary, Alberta. December 17th in Torrance, California. December 18th in Irvine, California. December 19th in Oxnard, California. December 21st in Covina, California. December 31st in Castlegar, British Columbia. All California dates are with the legendary Brian Holtzman, by the way. Castlegar for New Year's Eve party with the fellas, January 24th in Slave Lake, Alberta, January 25th in Fort Mac, Alberta. Now some added dates. February 7th and 8th in Hamilton, Ontario with Brian Holtzman, March 28th in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And April 12th in Lloydminster, Alberta. More dates will be added to the calendar here shortly. New merch just dropped. Now available on the store. Just got mine here. Elaine Sat Here shirt. That's right. We're not dropping the joke. We're going to beat it till it's dead. It is now live on the store. Elaine Sat Here, dangercatshop.com for tickets and merch. And if you would like an extra episode of the show, patreon.com/dangercat69 for all tickets and merch. For an extra episode. Did I say Patreon? What the fuck? Pay attention. Patreon.com/dangercat69 to support the podcast. You can see all the links down in the description down below. Hey, let's give your boy a little congratulations, huh? We're looking at 12 days no vaping. I feel less gay, okay? Without the vape, feeling less gay, feeling a little more masculine, back lifting. I'm gonna, let's put some time in encouraging the fellas to get out there, go lift. It is like you get these epiphanies now. It was just my birthday last weekend. We got to celebrate it in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and we conquered a snowstorm. Nick McQuick and I decide to drive from Edmonton to Medicine Hat. We contemplate whether or not we're going to stay there. Then it starts blizzarding. We're like, I think we should drive home, and we conquered that quest. That blizzard held nothing on us, but it did certainly fuck up my sleep schedule. Going into 34, I have been tired this entire time. It's been 5 days and I'm bouncing back from one day of just, staying up a little too late. No alcohol either. I know. You've been selling us a lie for so long, Uncle Hack. I know. I'm tipping the scales the other way. When you go to one extreme, you have to go to the other. I don't know what it is. It's just how my brain functions. It's like I have to have it all or nothing. I can't just, even with like sugary sweets, I can't just eat like a quarter of a bag of Skittles, enjoy it. No, I have to like fiend over it and just crush all the fucking sugar, all of the fucking sugar. And now we're getting sound effects from the computer itself. How lovely. We'll do that. But I just like, I get it. I get the mentality of an addict. I haven't been, but I don't have an addictive personality. It's only when I have it. It was like with everything. Booze was the same. Every now and then, though, you got to line up the cavalry and just let it fucking run wild. Every now and then, you got to just put the cannons out for display. You got to do yourself a little North Korea parade every now and then. Just let the body know that you still have it. You got to just let it know that you have nuclear weapons at your disposal at any moment's time. And that's why I have 2 bottles of whiskey just sitting on top of the fridge for that day where I'm like, fuck it. I'm getting like piss pile drunk, and I'm going to go cause a nuisance and create problems in my life that I should not have right now. You know, I'm going to call up ex-girlfriends and start fucking creating drama in my life. You know, like that type of nonsense that you do when you're that pissed up. I need a new table stand because these ones are like heavy duty. There we go. And it's like easy to bring it down, but it's very difficult to not. That's much better. That is much better. But anyways, 34. Cracking into this is it's different. You know, like I'm listening to my body for once. The mental changes of, you know, I find this stuff interesting to talk about because now I'm finally at that age. Because I think like a lot of other dudes are going through the same kind of transformation in their life. Is you know, some of the bros that knocked up a lady early in life, you kind of had to experience this at a younger age instead of gradually going into it. It was like just a complete total revolving door, and it just shot you out the one. You're like, fuck, I needed to go the other way. I wanted to take this route, but it forced you to grow up faster. So like I was like a gradual climb to where you were at 7 years ago if you knocked up a lady, you know, a little early. So now like my mentality is like changed drastically. How I approach problems is so much different. I wish I would have had this this I don't want to say it's like a sense of wisdom, but this maturity that comes with approaching problems. And under duress and all the stress, I think maybe I made some mistakes just in my own life with the factors surrounding me. But once you bring peace into your world and you're able to like think with clarity and maneuver in ways that a stressed mind wouldn't, it really brings this harmony. And it's enjoyable where you're able to, you know, let things slide a little bit better. So I hope all the bros out there are having a fantastic time and you're not under a great deal of stress, even though the country politically is falling apart. You know, it's tearing at the seams. And that seems to be the one thing that really amplifies us. And that's the way you can't let it affect your whole you as a whole and you emotionally. You cannot live in fear because here's the thing is we're watching this President Trump the election of President Trump truly affect the emotions of left-leaning people, and seeing that is like it's incredibly sad. It is a bummer to see people that politically involved that they will go out to a body of water and scream at it together. I get like the unity is there and there's a sense of community that comes with it. And we've kind of lost any form of hobby to form a community out of that, you know. I can't remember. I think it was called Farewell to America that I was listening to just a minute ago. It's a good book. I recommend the novel. But one of the talking points in there is the fall of like community that used to exist in the past. Like your grandparents would be a part of like the Lions Club, or they would have like a bowling league or a golf league, or a recreational hockey team that grandpa was a part of, whatever it may be. And we've kind of lost that. There's really no community that brings us together for a positive, like a positive, what's the word I'm looking for? connection. That's what it may be. And it's more like in a political sense. Instead of just having a barbecue with your neighbors, that doesn't happen anymore as often anyways. I had imagined like some places are doing it, but very seldom do you see like a block party. Maybe that's like the honky in me. Even in like small town communities, these bowling leagues and all that have kind of, you'd all get together. And it's sad to think. And now the only thing that we're doing is crashing out in the streets with one another. Is like you find a political movement that you can attach yourself with. And because of the economic classes, like there's a clear distinction of those that are in a wealthier class than you because they're able to attend things that are enjoyable. Like for instance, our prime minister here in Canada was able to attend the Taylor Swift concert and had great tickets by the looks of it, and was able to bring his daughter there and enjoy an evening out with the daughter. And then this is like something that kind of gets gay for me is like, I get it. Like dudes got to do some oddball shit with their daughters that they don't necessarily want to do, but you love your daughter, so you do it anyways. And I respect that as a father, that not me as a father, but him as a father, and going out and just like, whatever, who gives a shit if he looks like a dork singing to Taylor Swift? Is that what we're worried about right now? And then like, that's the point we want to stick on. That's the point. Yes. Is it gay to go to a Taylor Swift concert as a male? Of course it is. It's a gay thing to do. We can all agree on that. But like, is this the sticking point that we're going to like just nail this guy to the cross? Oh, you went to a Taylor Swift. What a fucking queer. Come on. And then on top of it, like just by sheer timing of the events aligning up, that Montreal just decides to go haywire and all these lunatics just are rampant in the streets, smashing the piss out of storefront windows. Because that's the disparity of economic class. Is like if you were able to go and have a good time, you would go have a good time. And now your good time is ruining storefront windows in a downtown core of a major city. That's how we express ourselves now. Because nobody wants to listen. Nobody's listening in the streets anyways. If there has not been a moment in time where you've stopped and listened to anybody in the city. The only people that are doing that are people that don't live in a big city, and they are in the big city, and they're now experiencing the madness that exists in this concrete jungle. If you're a small town kid and you finally make it to the big city, you're experiencing like sensory overload. Crackheads, screaming, yelling the most insane shit you've ever heard. Like you thought that your alcoholic buddy who tells like very sexist and very extreme type jokes of like blowjobs and cum and piss and shit and all that, like that to you is a sensory overload. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, can you calm down? Where then you come to the city and now someone strung out on fentanyl who's a little down on their luck, no dollars left, is relapsing in the street, screaming that Alex Jones is the Messiah, and the CIA is watching him because this guy's been picking his scabs for 2 days and lighting them on fucking fire. And somehow when he does that, there's a spiritual awakening that is connected with the earth and is like a beacon for alien figures to come down and speak to him to give him more knowledge. These are the type of characters that you don't necessarily see in a town of 7,000 fucking people. And that's understandable. So when you do come to the city and you experience this for the first time, you're the only one listening to that fucking lunatic rant and rave on a street corner. The rest of the working class, those that are just downtown shopping or just on their way to wherever they need to be, they disassociate with that. They don't even hear it. The sirens, the horn honking, the motors revving. It is just... You have to do so much to block that out and enjoy what little peace you have when you are in a major center. And I don't think many people understand that. Like I don't think a small town gent doesn't quite get that. Doesn't quite get that. So when people are out in the streets and they're screaming, and the left and the right both do this, they seem to think that yelling at empty storefront fucking buildings and these brick and mortar places that have no one in them, you know, the what the hell am I saying? The office buildings. I don't know why I'm struggling with words today. It's because you're a moron and dementia settling in early because of the chemtrails that they've been spraying over top of you, brother. Like, it's tapping into your skull. And now, like, those years of fluoride, all that fluoridated water that you've been consuming and cooking with Teflon pans is now, like, early onset dementia is settling in because of, like, all of the chemicals being just distributed through your orb of flesh, and now your mind is slowly starting to melt because, like, that's the world that we live in. We live in a society where it is like everything is put in front of you. It's all distraction, and now, like, I hate to say it, but I hate it so much. It's like you look in the past, and I know I've sat on this podcast on numerous times saying, like, get it all out of your system. Get it all out of your system. You know, get these urges. And maybe I've been wrong. Maybe the trick is not allowing yourself to succumb to those urges of, like, nasty sexual rituals. And like all these nasty sexual acts that would just, like, draw you in. It's like, I need to have a foursome. I got to have a fivesome. I got to go to an orgy. I got to fucking, you know, I got to have my own asshole gape so a woman can eat cereal out of it. Like, all these sexual twisted fantasies that run in your fucking mind because, like, you just can't put down the Pornhub and now you have to experience this. You can't just jerk off and disassociate to it, right? And get death grip and never fuck your wife, which leads to a divorce and you lose your house and all of this. All of it is, we're going off the deep end. I get that. Now I'm turning into the crazy person that you should have met about 3 years ago. These are, like, the true thoughts that really exist inside my mind. And now I'm seeing the effects that it has on the youth, and that's what's bothersome about it. And even, like, the entitlement of those people that we were just discussing about earlier, that feel that when they are in the streets that somebody's going to listen to them. And I hate to break it to you, but no one fucking cares. That's the thing. No one cares. No one is going out of their fucking way anymore to just, like, make life easier. We are very, very selfish in the grand scheme of things. So it makes it really difficult to, you know, look at the left has done this so well, is that it ate itself alive. Once a majority of the population stopped listening to them and the words that they say, now their actions are being used to get that attention. Because the words used to draw us in. We used to be drawn in by their words. And then when that stopped happening, then it was a verbal attack on those that opposed them. So it was like, you're a racist, you're this, you're that, you're transphobic, you're xenophobic. And now those words have lost their oomph behind it. Nobody listens to it anymore. Now, if you're called racist, it's almost like it's like a badge of honor. It's like a very low grade. It's just passable to be, like, accepted on the other side of those that oppose. So that way you can just, like, enter this group and they're like, yeah, hey, we are too, apparently. And it's like it's funny. Those that are calling you racist, not very diverse, but now this group of racists are more diverse than the ones that are calling out quote unquote racism now. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It is a total just Looney Tunes episode of trying to put it all together. The storyline just doesn't make sense. Even politically. Right now, the situation in Canada is quite unique because we're watching the Liberal Party openly discuss reducing immigration, which is nuts, because this has been the political party that's supposed to be that is supposed to celebrate diversity in Canada being a melting pot. And now they've realized, oh, we fucked up. We're going to start we're going to not only scale back on immigration, but these visas that are going to be expired. You guys got to go. They invited all these people into this house party because they wanted this big, diverse fucking party to take place. And now it's all falling apart in front of their eyes. It was supposed to be like a little gathering, and then the invitations started getting handed out, and now this party is being flooded, and it's turning into like a Project X style party. Truthfully, that's the only way of describing this, right? Because if you think about it, like, all the people that you invited in are now destroying, you didn't really, you wanted them there, but you were like iffy about it. So you just kind of invited a few people, right? And then like some new legislation passed, so that way they were able to bring more people into the house party. And now those people are, turned out to be fucking psychotic, and now they're destroying your downtown cores and overtaking the parliament steps of these buildings across the nation and screaming death to your home. So now it's like, oh fuck. Now they're taking that stance where the conservative leader, who should have been taking this stance a while ago, is spending more time pandering to those people to get their vote for some odd reason. And it just doesn't make any fucking sense in Canada. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the twist on politics here is just, I'm blown away. And now with this is where, let's get over here. Now, I'm not, excuse me. I'm not the best when it comes to the political landscape or political science behind all this and putting it all together. And I understand that. My opinions are just moronic at the end of the day, but it is concerning. Like, I do listen and try to dissect it in my beaten, broken, CTE-ridden mind, and try to see the effect that it'll have on the country and more so the working class, the people that the class of people that I interact with the most. I'm not having high tea with the elites of Canada. I don't shake hands with those people. I don't mingle in those circles. In fact, I will probably never be invited into any of those circles. And rightfully so. I've said some questionable things online and done some questionable things as well and made fun of most of those individuals. And so they probably wouldn't want me at their party anyways. That would be them inviting a retard into their house party. Literally, figuratively and literally. So why would you wouldn't want me there? I don't want to be there. You don't want me there. It's a perfect exchange. I'll hang out with the guys that still think that smashing beers on their heads over the age of 30, is still a fun idea on a Saturday night. I intellectually, I'm on the same level of those guys, maybe even if I don't do the same shit as them. It's just, anyways. Now Trump is saying that he's going to impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods if we don't figure out the fucking border now. Like, illegal immigration into the United States of America now is a two-front war between Mexico and Canada. And then, like, the Canadians are not doing much about it. They're not doing, it's kind of like this cover your eyes and hope that the problem kind of solves itself. Really. Before illegal immigration coming into Canada was bad. And now with like all these visas expiring and a lot of them don't want to go back to, wherever they came from. And you can see the desperation of what's taking place here of like wanting to stay. You see multiple interviews with with some of these visa holders. So it does get interesting. Where, here we go.
James Moore is a former...
Black Friday is on now at Sport Check. Save up to 60% off from November 21st to December 4th.
And immediately, right away,
ski and snowboard equipment
the RCMP has been handed, they have been handed here, the equipment that should have been used quite some time ago to address this issue. And now they're finally getting that equipment to now attack the problem at hand, which shows you the hand that Trump has played to get this shit in order before he even takes office is crazy. Is that there is some fear because a 25% tariff would cripple our economy, and especially the political move of Trudeau saying if Netanyahu ever came to Canada that he would arrest him on the spot. And now, the allegiance of Israel in the United States is very tight. So now it creates this wedge between neighboring nations, which I don't think the United States really enjoys. I can't remember. One of the senators came out and said, we will cripple Canada. I can't remember who. It'll come back to me. But saying they will cripple Canada economically if that's the case. So that's a little terrifying, seeing as our biggest trade partner is making threats on a scale like that, isn't it? That's not good. That's like going to the toughest guy in the bar and being like, listen, if you touch me, you'll never fuck my sister. Somewhere along those lines. Something like that. If you touch me, you will never bang my sister, okay? I will ruin that for you. So... because you want the goods. You want the goods, but you will fucking destroy yourself for it. Maybe that was a horrible analogy. In fact, it probably was. But here we have experts. We love experts on this show. There's no
Minister in Stephen Harper's government and helped advise the Trudeau government on NAFTA negotiations during Trump's first presidency. So, James, listen, 25%, that's a huge number. What's your sense of what this will do to Canada's economy as a whole?
The immediate reaction of the markets will be negative. The dollar will go down. It'll have a dark cloud over the investment climate in Canada between now and January 20th. So there's a lot of work to be done. But I don't think Canada should panic. In 35 U.S. states, their greatest and largest customer is Canada. So the two-way trading relationship between both countries is well known and is profitable for both sides of the border. Donald Trump's incoming ambassador designate Hoekstra, is a former politician from Michigan who understands very well the accretive benefit that the Canada-U.S. relationship has had for America and for Canada. So between now and January 20th, when President Trump is installed as President of the United States or inaugurated, I think there's a lot of work to be done to reanimate the conversation to make sure that Americans and Canadians both understand the vital nature of this relationship.
I think about oil exports, car exports to the U.S. was huge for this country. What industries are you thinking about the most here?
Well, certainly oil and gas in Alberta will be hit extraordinarily hard. The auto sector in the province of Ontario would be hit very hard. That's why you see Premier Smith and Premier Ford, Premier Legault in Quebec all coming out with strong statements about the importance of Canadian solidarity in the face of this threat to the Canadian economy. But, Donald Trump promised to do this. He said 10%, now he's saying 25. We'll see ultimately where the number may land on. But President Trump needs to be taken seriously, and he needs to be taken literally about the threat that he's put on the table. But he also gave us a little bit of a silver lining about a way out of this mess. In his tweet or his public pronouncement so far, he mentioned clear dissatisfaction with the issue of immigration, border security, fentanyl issues. And you know what? It's not just Donald Trump that's not satisfied with that. Canadians aren't satisfied with that. We see a shift in the polling numbers across the country. The Canadians want the Canadian government to take our border security, our immigration challenges, and the issues of fentanyl and drug overdoses in our cities.
There you go. You kind of get the gist of we're trying to educate the public because I'm too stupid and I'm not smart enough to be able to talk about like that to you about what the issues, it's very apparent, there is a rise. There is a clear rise of the what of exactly what the Canadian public wants, and it's very apparent. They're reporting on it all the time and trying to persuade you to go the other way and amplify these other voices that you know, these are things that are affecting Here's where I get frustrated, is because you can't just the default reaction from the left has always been like, well, you're racist if you think that, instead of having like a in-depth discussion. And this is what majority of Canadians are concerned about, is immigration. That seems to be the number one issues that Canadians are concerned about right now, is talking about immigration. That is you see it everywhere. You cannot avoid it. You know, a lot of towns now have demographically shifted, and to some that's very concerning. It was a mass influx of people that don't necessarily assimilate with the Canadian way of life. We've been living this way for quite some time. There are some cultures that are able to assimilate to the Canadian lifestyle, and that seems to be like the major talking point that I hear the most, is like they're not assimilating. When in reality, I don't even think many of us know what a Canadian lifestyle is. I know it comes with a high trust It's a high trust society. We used to kind of be in that, and as things economically fell, people fall on hard times and resort to drug use to escape their reality and live in this drug infused fucking escape that they've created for themselves. Yeah, it's sad. You know, you don't want to see any of that. And I know that this is like supposed to be a comedy podcast. At some point, when does the comedy start? But I feel like a lot of this is like manufactured in a way, and it could be avoided just by having good policy. And when you have these nepo hires that have never existed or walked a day in your fucking shoes. At 3 years old, they're touring the world and existing, or they're rubbing elbows with some of the most powerful people on the planet. They don't know how you or I operate. They don't. They truly don't. It's a total different mindset than what you and I would go through. So putting this belief into a political figure, to me, is just insane. It's rather annoying, because I can't fathom. I could not fathom looking at any of those morons, these bankers, these politicians, lawyers, that shift the way society operates for their benefit. It's never been for your benefit. When have you ever seen a politician come in and make your life easier? It just doesn't happen. But yet, somehow, we like to believe that that's going to be the issue, that's going to be the outcome of electing these folks. When naturally, a man like myself, you know, from a small town rural community that's been propped up by the agriculture and oil industry, many folks in that town work in that industry, or there's something just outside the parameters of it, and it influences the economic prosperity of the town. So when it is affected, you see a major dip, and then demeanors change and people's psyche change. You become like a little more, when wealth is abundant and you're prosperous and your purchasing power is there, the comfort settles in, and you never really expect anything to go wrong. You're not expecting those rainy days, and all it takes then is a policy change from a governing body, whether it's municipal all the way to federal, somewhere in there. All it takes is some dumbass to write words on a paper. Fucking, they gather around, yeah, it's a good idea, even though they don't understand the effect that it would have on, like a carbon tax. You know, all these taxes that the farmers are going through. It's difficult. It just makes more difficulties for food just to be planted, so that way we can feed the population. Where, you know, like, all it would take. Here's the thing that just fucking irritates me. If we were all able to come together and have this like collective hive mindset of like, we can just not deal with them and have our own thing over here, kind of like what the Hutterites do, you know? Like, if you just cut yourself off from society, obviously you're going to create some issues from yourself or for yourself and your community, because they have like law enforcement and they have their jail systems, and they're able to, like, you could basically have a Waco style outcome. But you watch that Romana Daldalou, or whatever the fuck her name, that self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, that Filipino that was like, they overtook some school in a small town, and watching her, if you're crazy enough, you can get away with it. If you're psychotic enough that you present yourself in such an unstable manner, nobody wants to deal with you. Where if you're a rational human being that just wants to exist outside of the walls of like what we consider a normal society, then they make your life a little difficult. By, you know, I seen one gentleman who wanted to live off the grid. He was tucked away and like bought his plot of land, and still bylaw officers of that area were coming out and harassing him because of like how his structure was built. And it's like, can you guys fuck off? The reason I'm out here is because I don't want you queers coming in bothering me. And now you're bothering me. And this is what causes people to do some shit like the fucking Unabomber, you know? Like, you're just constantly or the Killdozer. You're fucking with people. And now the pressure is being turned up because politicians aren't listening to you. They're disregarding every concern that you have as a constituent in their area. And we're watching it kind of slowly decay, is what I'm finding. It's like when I zoom out of all of the societal structure, I guess, of the structure of society that we have now, whether it be like social or economics or everything that you break down to have a group of people kind of living with amongst one another. And you're seeing like these major cities being taken over by these massive protests for pro-Palestine, and screaming things like death to Canada. You're seeing these Khalistani protests, which are like, to the average Canadian, should be kind of concerning, because a lot of these people are able to gather en masse under, you know, this issue and display display this almost sense of power to overtake areas of a city to push their political agenda out into the public. Now, like I said before, and normally you would just ignore it. If you are from those areas, you're like, oh, here we go, another Saturday, people screaming and yelling in the streets. Now that the work week is over, all the leftover funds that you do have aren't able to, you know, go see the premiere of the new Wolverine and Deadpool movie. So now what do you resort to? Gathering under this umbrella of a political issue, so you have a sense of community, a sense of being, a sense of almost like being a part of something that could be considered bigger than yourself. So what do? You go and scream and yell with these individuals. That's why you have feminists out at Lake Michigan screaming into the water with one another over the election result of Donald Trump being in office come January. You know, like, these are just things that bring us together now. Instead of like being like, hey, we should join a bowling. Nah, we're not. Is it bowling for Palestine, or else I'm not gonna fucking go? Yeah, like, what are we doing? Are we gonna go play darts at a local pub as long as the dart night is labeled fucking anti-immigration dart slingers? Or it just has to be like tied politically, and now the pressure cooker is like fucking with us. We as people is like, you have to pick a side. And it would be great for a day where we kind of flip that switch. Instead of like looking at this as a horizontal battle, we're able to see it as a vertical, and we're getting close. We're getting close. I believe so. I think we're slowly inching our way towards it because I'm noticing that conservative-leaning people aren't satisfied with the rhetoric and the policies that Pierre Poilievre is coming out with. They're now seeing that the policies that they would want from their conservative leader are now coming from the opposition, which is the Liberal Party, and now they're running on rhetoric that the conservatives should, in theory, be running on. So there's just there's a total state of confusion with voters here in Canada. That's what I'm finding. And as I'm trying to take a step back and see this for what it truly is. And it's a divide in wealth. That's what, to me anyways, it's a total divide of the economic classes is now it's widened and it's clear. Because are you going to a Taylor Swift concert, or are you going out on a Saturday night and screaming with other folks? Are you going to a Danger Cats comedy show, or are you just wrapping a towel around your face or whatever they're doing, wrapping a t-shirt around so you can go and tell whatever fucking people that are just walking to go to dinner that night that they're racist? You really only have a couple of options to entertain yourself here in the great country of Canada. And as our loonie falls deeper and deeper into economic trouble, you just have to find a way to entertain yourself. And that's why protesting is the last form of entertainment in this country. You have to gather with people and go scream about issues that you particularly probably aren't passionate about, but you really can't afford to take up a hobby like snowboarding in the wintertime, and then in the summertime, maybe it's paddle boarding because it is expensive. You got to load up the fucking paddle board. Then you got to go to a lake, and usually these lakes have a fee to go and hang out at them for the fucking day. And then on top of it, you need food. You got to bring food with you. By the end of it, you're spending $250, and that's prior to even buying the goddamn paddleboard to go out and just stroke along a lake. And do you have that $250? No, because you live in just a saturated market that rent is through the fucking roof. So you have to scratch your head how am I going to make it to the end of the week? How am I going to release this frustration? So it's a form of therapy to be out there and be like, why the fuck aren't we worried about Palestine? And maybe some of those folks out there, some of them are very passionate about the Israel-Hamas war or whatever, however you want to label it. It is funny because one side will be like, these are Hamas supporters, and then these guys are looking over and be like, yeah, well, you're a fucking, what? So we're getting all flavors being thrown around in that little conundrum going on out there. Which, hey, for me, it's great entertainment. I don't have to leave the house. I can watch the country destroy itself, which I'm not overly thrilled about. I'm not sitting here enjoying the destruction of a social fabric just deteriorate in front of my eyes. It's not necessarily the funnest thing to watch go down. Would I like to be interested in sports again? Yes, but this is just, it's reality. It's like reality TV, unscripted in front of your eyes, and watching it come together is it's truly a masterpiece. It is television that we strive to have. Canada used to be a boring country, and now people are paying attention to us because of the issues that we present to our neighboring country. So when something like a 25% tariff gets slapped down on us, all of a sudden the governing bodies start to shape up real tight, I'm finding. Especially after that was announced, like I mentioned before, these these politicians were then like granting the equipment to the RCMP to monitor this situation with helicopters and drones over the border to see what's really going on there. And now like the distribution of drugs, that's a major concern, seeing like, you know, our ports are, especially like a port like Vancouver in a city that's considering itself like progressive by allowing drugs to just seep in through the community and calling it something under the guise of safe supply, which is another insane thing to do. It's sad. You want, like, I truly am disheartened when I see people down on their luck. I don't like that, you know, and to have these mainstream media outlets almost allude, not, you know, almost, they were alluding that we've got satisfaction over seeing people distraught, hurt, upset. Meanwhile, all we're trying to do is just bring people together to make them laugh. So that part, then now you tried to destroy my character and it upset me. And I probably said some things that I'm not overly proud of during that time. I was stressed. I've never dealt with something so big before. It was so big. It was like when your name is in a national headline for something that you truly don't believe, it's very hard to navigate, and like you want to defend your character, but it almost with that comes a sense of guilt from the optics of people looking out. It's like, no, I'm not like that. Where it's easier to just be a goofy fuck and be like, yeah, and lean into it, where it makes you almost an evil character, and then that they get something and you get something. They get this villain that they can write about in the media, and you get the attention. So it's like it's an exchange, but not really the exchange you want. Of course, most of us want to be beloved and celebrated, but it's almost more fun now, you know, to be this outlaw, to be on the against these establishments, especially it's like something like the CBC reporting on you. When government funded media is reporting on you rather than the larger issue at hand, and you know, they're saying these things about you that you read and know aren't true. It really does something to you. It makes you angry. And in a world like that, I'm trying my best to remain as positive as possible. And it took me a minute to get back. You know, we're aging. We're getting a little older. We're losing some hair around here. You know, like it's just the way life goes. I've accepted my reality. Is it difficult at times? Sure. Can we get through it? Of course. You know, there's worse things that I could be going through than CBC calling me a racist. Which, like, what? First off, what? Tell me what I've said is racist. And then was it a joke? That's the part that really, like, that got under my skin a little bit. And I'm being a little vulnerable with you fine folks today. Not exactly the podcast that maybe you signed up for, but we're getting introspective as our age is settling into this decaying frame that I have. Unfortunately, as you know, as you get older, you have to look at your younger self and accept that self and hope to God that as you get older, you still don't become that individual. You know, that there are flare-ups from your younger self. You got to figure out your mind, your body. What is your body telling you? And you're like, do I need rest? Do I need vitamins? Do I need this? Do I need that? You have to kind of take it a little more serious as you get older. You know, you see these folks and they just look like shit. And they're my age, and you're looking at them and be like, brother, you look like you're 55. What the fuck is going on here? Where I'm like, I want to try and start encouraging people to like take care of themselves and be a little more healthier. I know it's gay to have smoothies. I'm well aware of that, but it is good for you. Because now, as I tread in this water, as I get older and I see the things that corporations are getting with attacking our health to benefit financially off of sick and dying people, it's concerning. When you have something in a place like the MAID program that is almost it encourages you to kill yourself and allow the government, they won't even give you the dignity to go and string yourself up in a forest because that's illegal. But you can go in and sign up to get another injection. You can get an injection and they'll take your life for you. That's concerning. We shouldn't be like advocating for this. And I just seen another clip of some woman sitting there and be like, honestly, I'd be more happier if we would stop talking about it and just accept it. So what does that tell you? We've seen veterans that just asked for a staircase, and not even just a Paralympian. So this person has not only served for the country, but represented it on an international stage through sport, asked for something as simple like, yo, can I get a ramp into my house? And they're like, how about you kill yourself? The best we can do is kill you. How does that sound? I know life is tough. The best we can do is kill you. And that part is like, it's upsetting. It's upsetting that's the best option that we can hand some people that have done something, great. They've done great. They've represented us on an international. How about you kill yourself? And that's 1 degree. And then it was you seen during lockdowns. You seen the grotesque nature of these sitting politicians, even someone like Doug Ford. Is as lockdowns, and then all of a sudden his sticker contract he gets the sticker contract for every little Sobeys and Loblaws to put down the arrows, and made $1 billion off of it, while you were either coerced to do something you were questionable about, i.e. the vax. You had to get the vax to go to work. And if you didn't, you possibly could have lost your job. So then that happens, right? We go through that. And then it turns into a role. And I'm never going to forget this. I'm pissed. I lost 2 years of my goddamn life because people mismanaged. I'm irate about that. It irritates me to my core. 2 years of my life were taken from me because of mismanagement at federal and provincial levels. So yes, I think that more people we're forgetting about that. A lot of people have forgot about what they put us through. And meanwhile, they were making money hand over fist. And right now we're supposed to be celebrating that a GST is removed for 2 months. This doesn't benefit the lower class. Like, this is supposed to be something that we pat ourselves on oh, thank you so much, dear leader. This is going to benefit the wealthy once more. Oh, what's that? I can make big purchases during the holiday season and not pay GST on it? Wonderful. Now, I don't know all the ruling behind it, but listening to someone smarter than me talk about it, that was the major concern, is now the wealthy are getting a bigger break. When in turn, I know like this is maybe a controversial take on a left of center podcast, but like taxing the wealthy just a little bit, or figuring out some form of payment from these massive corporations. But meanwhile, their pockets are being padded. You have these lobbyists that are padding the wallets of the wealthy. All this money's being funneled out. It's just thievery in front of our eyes, and we're supposed to just accept it. And I don't think that's right. Stripping you of your basic rights. And meanwhile, you know, the same people that oppose you are screaming about rights that they already fucking have. What about abortion in this country? There's abortion clinics across the goddamn nation. It's been wrote into federal law that it is part of our healthcare system. Since I believe the early 80s. It hasn't went anywhere. You're using American talking points to try and prove something that already exists. You have it. You can kill all the babies that you want in this country. And then when you're done killing all the babies, you can go get an injection from the MAID's program when your pussy's tapped out. I don't get it. I'm losing it. I'm losing my mind. It's rather concerning. It's disheartening, is what it is. And then being stripped of all that. This is just my review at 34 looking back from these past years. So I apologize. But, you know, when my 30th birthday was celebrated sitting in a fucking condo locked down, and I'm like, what am I going to do today? Is my life over? And I'm questioning everything. And then now, like 4 years later, I'm cleaned up my act a little bit, you know, just a little bit. I still got a little bit of goofiness inside of me. We're not 100% serious, but we're just trauma dumping, I believe, is what women would say that I'm doing right now. I'm trauma dumping all the stuff that's boiled up inside, and now it's just being on top of this hour that I've been ranting on this podcast. But I find that some folks just need, like, we're missing direction in what is truly happening around us, and the effects of these decisions, and what could happen because of mismanagement. And it is rather concerning, like when you're watching a political leader more interested in making TikToks and milkshakes with an old man, and then going and doing hot ones. He's eating chicken wings with the fucking hot ones guy, and now he's at Taylor Swift concerts handing out friendship bracelets. Meanwhile, people are smashing storefront windows. You know, people are struggling economically. The rent is, and again, another big issue. It's like you want to be a home buyer, and now the youth are seeing what the future could look like, and they don't care. And I don't blame them. Do you blame them? If you presented a future that was so grim and so dark, and you said you just have to work hard and you'll get through it, and that pinhole of the light at the end of the tunnel is so small. It is so small. And you look at that and you're like, the fucking adventure and the conquest, the quest that I would have to endure to even have a possible sniff at owning a home in this country seems damn near impossible. So why would I do that? I'm going to decide to opt out. I'm not going to abide by these same like unwritten rules that my millennial counterparts have taken on, you know, like this. Oh, we put in 2 weeks notice. Fuck you. I'll quit tomorrow. I don't give a shit. And just remove the power of like these gay positions. Like, oh, I manage the Walmart, and if you don't show up, then I'm going to make your life. I don't give a shit. Fuck it. I don't care. You know, like I don't. And we're not used to that because we've been such a compliant society. Now this new group of kids is coming in and being like, you're telling me like I'm supposed to give a fuck about this decaying house, this infrastructure that's falling apart around me, and now I'm supposed to suddenly be handed this and build a brighter future? Why the fuck? Let it collapse and we'll start from there. We'll start fresh. We'll let you guys ruin it all. We'll let these geriatrics make decisions that, you know, it's kind of beneficial for them so they can have a nice retirement. And then once these fucks die off and you guys get out of our way and everything's destroyed and it's just we're at just a ground level, we'll start building from there. Until then, we're going to enjoy our time. We're going to make TikToks. We're going to give the Chinese more data. That's what we're going to do. We're going to shimmy and shake, steal content from one another, and do the most mindless, talentless thing on the planet just to prove that we truly do not care, and it's out of spite from this invisible framing of these guidelines, these what would be the best way to describe this society? What be this society? These governing bodies, everything about it, just like fucking irritating, you know? So I can see why communism is kind of like appealing to a younger crowd. I can, which is sad because like that's not the route you know, in theory, yes, sure, it probably sounds amazing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's never quite worked out so shit hot. Dear Lord. Did I burn your ears yet? I guess in conclusion of this podcast is what I'm trying to say is I hope your day is going well. I hope your day is going well. I hope many of you are enjoying your lives. I hope many of you are surrounded by good people. I hope many of you are solving these problems that come your way. And it just, it's just mind your own world. Just mind your own world. All this stuff that we talk about on this, I like it because it's dramatic. It's reality television at the end of the day. It's storyline nonsense that we can bring in and discuss it. It's something to talk about. It affects us. Excuse me. It affects us on a very large scale. But what I'm truly trying to get at is just enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Come to a Danger Cats comedy show. Tickets at dangercatshop.com. See you in the future, folks.